Hi, so I'm going to attempt to replace the zip in my boot, which is slightly terrifying because I've never really replaced a zip in a shoe before, and this is real leather and I'm a bit scared of damaging it. But I got these boots. I actually bought them off eBay, but they're from Clarks originally. I know that the selling price in store was £130, which I wasn't quite willing to pay. So I found them on eBay for £25, which I thought was a really good deal, and they were the right size and everything. And the reason that they were so reduced was that the right boot had a damaged zip, and it's damaged right down at the bottom here. So all I did was I took it to a cobbler, and he actually just made a little snip with some scissors in the zip, and then he actually has just poured glue on it, and that's fixed it. And basically now it doesn't quite unzip all the way down to the bottom. So it unzips down to there, which is about 1 centimetre from the bottom. But that's totally fine, and I can fit my foot in it fine. So, and he charged me £3. So in total they cost £28 when they should have been £130. So I thought that was a really good deal. But recently the zip on the other boot has also broken. I'm starting to think that the quality of Clarks boots has really gone downhill. And also actually I noticed that it says they're made in China inside, and I don't understand how you could pay £130 for shoes that have been made in China. I don't know why, I just assumed that they were made in the UK because of the kind of company they are, but they're made in China and the zips are rubbish apparently. So this one, it's kind of the same thing. I think it had stretched and the teeth had gone a bit funny, and I actually cut it myself. And I tried to glue it and I tried to sew it up, which I have done. I've actually successfully sewn it there. The problem is that it's too high up and it's really difficult for me to fit my foot in, and I'm really worried about damaging the zip or the boot even more because I'm having to pull and tug at it so much to get my foot in. And at the same time the zip pull's actually snapped off as well, so it's just impossible to use. So I'm going to attempt to take this zip out and then replace it with ones that I got at the market. They were actually buy one get one free, so I got two just in case I got the wrong colour. I thought, well, I could replace both of them and then at least they would match, but actually this looks pretty perfect to me, so I think hopefully I'll only have to replace one of them. But I guess if it all goes wrong, then I have a spare zip. But this cost me £2.26 for both zips because they were buy one get one free. So hopefully I'll be able to repair it myself for £2.26. If I took it to a cobbler, just based on what happened to me last time when I took it to him, I think that probably what they would do is send it away to be fixed, where they would replace the zip and charge me about £30 for it. So if this all goes horribly wrong and I end up ruining the zip, I can always send it off and get it replaced for £30. But I could potentially do it myself for £2.26, so I'm going to attempt it. So all I've got is, at the moment, just my stitch or seam ripper, and then I've got some pins for later on. So all I'm going to do now is just to unpick all the stitching. It's so scary. So this is the boot, and this is the zip, obviously. And you can see where it's damaged, and I've tried to repair it here, but the zipper pulls come off, and I just want to take it out and replace it, hopefully. So the difficulty is that the zip is actually stitched onto the leather, and then it goes through to the other side, and there's like a lining and more leather. So I'm going to have to unpick the stitches that are on the leather, and I have to be really careful not to catch the leather when I do it, and that's what's kind of terrifying. And on this side there's like an extra bit of leather here as well. It goes behind the zip, so it's those stitches there. So on this side what I'll do is I'll start by undoing these stitches, because if I nick this then it's not at least going to be visible, but on this side it's going to be, I think, a bit trickier. So that's what I'm going to do now anyway. Well, I'm finding it's coming away quite easily actually, so that's good. That makes life simpler. You can see how many layers that there is in there. There's like the lining and interfacing and leather and the zip and then leather on the other side as well. Well, I don't know that that's real leather actually, but yeah, it's like there's going to be quite a few layers for my sewing machine to sew through, so that's what I'm a little bit worried about. It's one of the many things that makes this so tricky, but I can always do it by hand if my sewing machine can't handle it, and that might be a better option. Obviously that would be more time consuming, but if you don't have the correct needles, then they won't go through the leather, and then they'll just break. What was that? So now I'm ready to insert the new zip, and I'm going to do it by hand, I decided, because I thought it would be too difficult to do on the sewing machine. So I've just already threaded my needle with some brown thread which I thought matched the best. I doubled my thread over to make it a bit thicker and a bit stronger. I didn't make it very long because I didn't want it to get all tangled up, so probably I'll have to keep rethreading my needle, and I'd rather do it that way around than get a really long piece and then it all gets tied in knots and it all gets really confusing and messy. So the first thing that I really need to do is to insert the bottom bit in the bottom. It's slightly different from the one that I took out. The one that I took out I actually had to cut away, and there was a little bit of zip beyond the zip stopper at the end. I think what they've obviously done is they've obviously bought, you know, a really long piece of zip, and then you just buy these stoppers separately and then you can create a zip any length that you want. Whereas mine, I bought a pre-cut zip. This is 18 inches long. The actual length I wanted was 17 inches, but that's not really a standard zip size, so I'll just cut it at the top and that's fine, that's not a problem. But it does mean that there's no excess at the bottom for me to insert the same way that the old zip was. So I'm just going to place it in as flush, as neatly as I can, and then I am going to pin it in place at the bottom, just to keep it in place and make sure that stays where I want it to stay. So I've just also got to get the zip in between all the layers of interfacing of fabric and leather that it was in between before as well. So I'm going to pin it in place, and I'm going to make sure that my pin goes through the existing holes that are already in the leather from where the original stitches were that I unpicked earlier, just because I don't want to create any more holes and make a big mess of the leather. I'm just going to be really careful. Now to the other side. I had a look at the other boot to see how the zip fits in, and kind of how far away from the zip the surrounding leather is, and it is quite close actually, so I'm just going to pull it quite close in before I pin it. I just stuck a needle in myself. Okay, so I've just pinned in at the bottom, and I think I'll probably go up and place a few more pins in just to keep it in place before I start sewing it, because one thing that I always end up doing with zips is I sew them and they end up not being straight, so one side of the zip is always higher up than the other, which I don't want to happen here. So just going to add a few more pins. So I've pinned the zip in place, and I've tried to get it the same distance away from the leather all the way along. It's not perfect, but I think it's okay. So now I'm just going to take my needle and thread, and I'm just going to start sewing it. And on each side there's 2 rows of stitches, so it might take me a while. So I've sewn the zip in now, which took about 2.5 hours. It was really fiddly work. It wasn't difficult, it just was really time consuming, and I was trying to be as careful as possible. So now what I have to do is just fix the end. So this is the top of the boot, and as you can see the zip is about 1 inch too long, so I need to cut those end bits off. But if I do that, then I lose the little metal stoppers, which will stop the zipper pull from coming off. There, so the zipper pull, it won't go any further because the stoppers are there, so if I cut it, then the zipper pull will just fall off. So what I need to do first of all is just to put some stitches into each side of the zip at the top of the boot, so that the zipper pull won't come off. So I'm just going to put some stitches in first. I'm just putting them into the zip, not the boot, and just literally sewing right in across the teeth, so that the zipper won't be able to get up. yeah, so that's stuck there. So I'm just going to trim the ends off now. Trying to do this without cutting all the stitching or the leather of the boot. There. I think that's done.